U.S. Army, and at the end of her service, she received honorable discharge as a veteran. She later attained a bachelor's degree in nursing and in health administration from the Wayne State University and the Davenport University. She's an international actress, writer, and director. She is most known for her starring role in Jamaica's #1 television series, The Blackburns, as well as the CBS TV series, Criminal Minds, where she played the roles of Claudia Chambers and a doctor, respectively. In June 2011, she was appointed Jamaica's Goodwill Ambassador by the National Association of Jamaica and Supportive Organization, where she liaisons between the Jamaican government and the diaspora. She lives by the mantra, either ride the bull or watch from the sidelines, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to put your hands together in applause and help me welcome Miss Shauna Chin, who, by the way, today is her birthday. So, I am going to invite, where did Karim go? Okay, we all can hold our own little notes. Let us all sing happy birthday to her. I will not be leading out since I don't do justice to singing. Karim and Tariq, please come and help me sing happy birthday to Miss Chin.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Should I say this to you? Shauna. Happy birthday to you.
I need to come to Northern Caribbean University more often. And on my birthday. Miss Tomlinson, to Miss Natalie Myers, and to the Department of Communication Studies and our distinguished guests, thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for sharing my birthday with me. So the thing is, the running thing in my family is maybe I'm not a big birthday person. I'm just not a big anything, you know? I'm just pretty much low-key. Everything's just kind of whatever, you know? Anything goes. But for some reason, the day before my birthday, I'm always getting excited. And then so I never have a plan. And then the last day, everybody's running around trying to figure out what to do for us to celebrate. So then I said, oh, I'm already committed to going to Northern Caribbean University. And my sister says, are you kidding me? So they have planned, because I live in Los Angeles. My sister lives in New Jersey, and I'm here in Kingston. I'm filming a project here for JAMPRO. And I've been here since, God, the end of February. It's been forever. So they've made all these elaborate plans, but because they know me and know something, I don't want to do nothing. Everybody's been trying to hold off. So when they realize that I booked plans to work, they're like, you're working on your birthday? Okay, no, you're ridiculous. So all the presents start coming in yesterday. So I started getting excited. So I'm officially excited. And to my rendition of happy birthday to me, thank you. That was very, very, very nice. So I'll get right into it because I guess you guys want to know about film, and I have some topics that I was demanded to speak about. So I'll talk about the general topic of film, the film industry. I'll leave for last because it's more, I'm assuming that everybody in communication studies, you're more behind the scenes, or can I get a feel of who is more behind the camera or who wants to go in front of the camera as an actor, as an actress? Oh, everybody's kind of mixed. All right. So but do I have more people behind or than in front? It will determine what I speak about more. Behind? All right. So I'll leave the information for behind last, since that's the majority. And then we'll talk about in front of the camera, secrets about how to get into acting, secrets about acting and how to maintain integrity, and one of the other things, keeping a personal life. So I believe the first thing to do with breaking into acting is to try to figure out what exactly you want to accomplish. As with anything, you want to have a clear, concise plan. So for me, as she said when she was introducing me, I have 2 bachelors in one in nursing and one in administration. So obviously I had no clue what I wanted to do. And that actually was a disadvantage for me, because then you find that you're behind the ball. So once you figure out that you really want to do this, then it starts getting really kind of mucky at that point. So you want to have a clear, concise plan. You want to physically write it down. You want to speak about it with your family, because when you do become an actor, your life then becomes public. And so you want to ensure that whoever is in your personal space, that it's okay with them. You want to discuss, things that are off topic. There are certain family members who there are certain topics that you don't want to discuss. Example, it could be something with psychiatry. They may not want to discuss personal information. It may be, something as far as for incest. I know a lot lately, we've been having a lot in our news about, children, being molested, and these are things that may come up as a public figure, and you want to be able to have a frank discussion with your family members before you embark on such a journey, so that you are able to field questions from journalists when they ask, and you're able to to respond and be available and be able to, you know what I'm saying. So the next question is, as far as for steps on breaking into acting, so the very first thing is you want to let the acting community know that you are present and ready to work. And how you do that is by, in general business world, you do that, you submit a CV or a resume. So that will be the same in film and entertainment. You want, as an actor, to have a headshot, which is pretty much an 8x10 photograph of yourself from your waist to your head top, and just basically showing you in a variety of positions that you want to be seen. So example, if you want to be known as an actor who is doing more friendly roles, then you want to be smiling in that headshot. Makes sense, right? If you want to have a career where you're kind of kicking butt, then you want to look more mean and, menacing. If you're going to be a thug and kicking burglars and doing all that kind of stuff, that's what you want to portray in your photograph. One of the gatekeepers, per se, of film and entertainment, TV and theater and film, are casting directors. And so the casting directors are who, they pretty much make the decision. So everybody's asking, what is the secret? The secret really lies within the individual personality of the casting director. They do the research, they know what people are watching, what people want to see, and based on that, they look for different actors who fit the profile. So a lot of times in film and entertainment, if you don't get the job, it's not necessarily anything that you particularly have done, or anything it's not, you need to be lighter, or you need to speak with more of an accent or less of an accent. A lot of it sometimes has nothing to do with you as an individual, as the individual actor. It just depends on what the market is looking for at that time, and if you are accessible to that casting director, which is why it's important for your headshot and your resume to indicate that you're ready and you're willing to work. So you always have to have up-to-date photos. You're keeping, like any resume, you want to keep that up to date, so that when the casting director does contact you or your manager, then they're able to say, okay, this person is ready to go. I think my number one tip for actors would be confidence. Confidence comes across, so anything on film comes across very powerfully. So if I am nervous, if I'm relaxed, you'll be able to see that very clearly on the camera. And what the camera loves to see is someone who's confident, someone who is present, someone who's ready to start and ready to get the job done. So I think that would be my key to say, that would be my secret, is to just being comfortable in your own skin, just being, confident and knowing that once you are present, that you are doing the best job and nobody else can do it better than you. All right, so that is more from the actor side, and we'll start going into more of the film production. One of the things is everybody has a story. However, the stories that people want to hear are, if it don't have anything to do with redemption, nobody is interested. So it's going to be boring. So you have to make sure that whatever story you're writing, it has some kind of arc to it, where it starts off with a problem. You have in the middle where you have what the solution is. And by the end, you want to be able to take your viewers on a journey of where the character has some sort of redemption. Either they've learned their lesson, like with Anansi. I grew up listening to a lot of Anansi, so I love Anansi. But at the end of each story, he's always much better. He starts out being this crook, and at the end, he comes out and you said he's learned his lesson. He learned to not eat and steal people's food because his belly going big and he's going to be lethargic. So there's some kind of lesson to be learned. And that's the same thing, that's the same general concept with getting a film off the ground. I start off with the script because everything in production starts with what is on that paper. If it's not on the paper, it can't be put on the screen. So you want to ensure that you either write the story yourself or you get a good writer that's, or a ghost writer, someone who's writing for you. Hire that person, and so that they're able to get, a good script, so that you're able to make sure that when you start showing it for people to view it, then you know automatically that people will want to watch it. People will go ahead and support your project. After the next thing about a script, after the script for film projects, would most likely then go into finding who your production crew is, who you're going to want to shoot the project. That is key because people are very visual. So as much as they hear and they're seeing what's going on in your film, a lot of times, have you ever watched something that you can just see the grains in the television and you're like, oh, that don't look good, so I'm not going to watch it because it's not good. You automatically made a decision just by what you see on screen. So your camera choices, now everybody's on the red camera, so you already want to go in knowing what type of camera there is available, how it's going to give you that kind of feel of what you want to see on screen. And a lot of times what you can do is if you're doing your research and you already have, as a filmmaker, I'm assuming that by then you will have watched a large amount of films that you can go ahead and pull from your repertoire and say, okay, I have this in my memory bank to use as a reference. So you think of one particular project that you like, and based on that you want to mirror and have your first project mirror that as much as possible. And that comes into with your director of photography or your DP, who's going to figure out your lighting, make sure that it's well lit, make sure that your actors look amazing. We love the DPs. So, and then your sound engineer. So, everybody who's also behind the cameras today, I thank you very much. I thank you for now, and I thank you for in the future for not making me look fat. So whoever is behind the camera then dictates what you see. So you want that person who's managing the camera, the cameraman. You want to ensure that you have someone who has good stamina and drink a lot of sarsaparilla. Because you can imagine that it takes a lot of energy to stand there and hold a camera, which you may or may not have a tripod, especially if you're in a scene where your characters are moving and you're moving consistently. One of the things is, especially in Jamaica, we're faced with a lot of budget concerns. So you may not, or you may not have a lot of the, what I think they call on the moving thing? Not the tripod. The crane? No, it's not the crane. The thing that you use, that thing right there, this is no, okay. So there's a train track. The dolly. Thank you. You see, this is why I'm here with you guys, because you guys know. So when you have, so you may or you may not. So you may or may not have a dolly on hand. So that will mean that the cameraman is physically in charge of moving the camera from one location to the next. And that can be very tiring. So you want to ensure that whoever is your cameraman is not necessarily youthful, but at the same time, he's very experienced. So that way, they understand cameras, they understand weight, they understand all that stuff. So that when you are watching it, when your viewers are watching whatever your project is looking like, it's not shaky, there's no shakiness, and your project is pretty well shot. Then sound. Sound is so important because, again, if you've ever watched any kind of film or TV and you can hear the dull sound in the background, you hear like a lot of artifact, a lot of noise outside, you want to be able to make sure that whoever is doing your sound and in your editing room, that it comes out as very clear as possible. There's not that dull sound that you can hear. And a lot of that comes with just knowing who is in the business, being able to network, going out, finding out who's the best, and just maybe even working with them at some point, especially since you're students. Now would be a good time to start figuring out who these key people are in production. So that way you can already reach out to them. Social media is such an amazing tool right now. You reach out to them and say, oh, hey, are you working on anything? Am I able to come and sit with you for a day, for a half a day, and to be able to see what it is that you do. And so you'd be surprised. A lot of them are able to say, okay, you can come maybe not for the whole day, but maybe for a specific amount of time. All right? The last two things would be the director and the actors. The actors are the least important because you can always, if you have all of that in place, and your director is even fairly well, not necessarily amazing, then your project, you can always, the perfect thing about film and television is that you can always edit. So I can't tell you how many times, so in her introduction she says, I work on the Blackburns of Royal Palm Estate. We don't shoot in sequence and we don't shoot necessarily in the sequence that we're, it's being shot. But in addition to that, even when we have finished filming something, we don't necessarily use it. Because a lot of times we forget our lines as actors. We're either too hot or sweaty, whatever. There's always some kind of stuff going on set behind the scenes that it doesn't, you feel that it doesn't come across looking very well. But then, in the edit room, when you look at it and you see the finished version, it actually comes across very well. And a lot of that, what happens is, they may take the first 2 takes and the last 2 takes of the day and put them all together, and it comes across looking as though it was just shot in one sequence. So, it doesn't, and I'm not saying that your actor can suck. They have to at least, have some kind of, talent. However, you as the producer, you as the executive producers, you as the production crew, you are able to determine a lot of, what comes across on the finished product to make it look like you have the best actors, you have the best directors, you have the best production crew, and you may be working realistically on something that's very minimal at best. I have on YouTube, there's a YouTube channel I have at Shauna Chin, and I talk more about how to get into the business from an actor perspective. So I know I glossed a lot over in front of the screen, but for time purposes, I just wanted to be sure to talk more about behind the scenes because apparently that's most of you here today. But if you are interested in learning more about being in front of the camera, then you can go to that channel. I think it's called The Skinny on Hollywood. And, there are like 12 episodes, and in each episode I talk about what headshots, what your headshot should look like. In another episode, I talk about social media, what things that you want to be concerned about. There's a lot of different things. You can go check it out if you're shy and don't want to tell me today that you want to be an actor. And that's pretty much it, unless you guys have any questions. So, oh, okay, here we have a question. Gosh, I was going to say, so I get to go. I love your height. I'm so tall, so I love seeing tall women.
Okay. Oh, good. Yes, we can all hear each other now. How long had you tried to get into the industry before it actually happened?
You know, I was just speaking about that this morning. It really was a fluke. And so, you know, I'm grateful that I didn't have to do, like, count my years. I was at a party, and this is why I was talking about networking earlier. Networking is such a key thing in any business. In journalism, that's how you get to know the actors, that's how you get to know the entertainers, and that's how they get to give you stories and open up to you and be accessible, you know, because you talk to people who you like. You know, there's a lot of people who may, you know, for getting me here today, Natalie sent me a message and she was like, oh, you know, she was just so personable. How could I say no? I was like, all right, I'll come. So, you know, networking is the key versus putting a time frame on how long to get into the business. I would say to you, more focus on networking, and however fast you are at networking and being good at, you know, speaking and, you know, getting contacts, that would determine your lifespan of how long it would take for you to really kind of get into the business. As for me, it just so happened that I went to a party, I met a friend who then became a brother to me, and he literally just happened. We were talking about the military. She was saying I was in the military. I was in the Army for 8 years. Okay. And he was in the Marines for the same length of time. And so he ended up being high school classmates with Vivica Fox. And she herself is her own brand in Hollywood. And, you know, so she was able to, when he wanted to get into the business, he was like, I want to leave India and I want to get into the business. She was like, come, let's go. And so again, that was networking. He already knew. And so once he and I were sitting at the party, and we just started off a conversation talking about the military, and we were just talking about random things about Jamaica. Brand Jamaica sells everywhere. Brand Jamaica is what got me on Criminal Minds, because I was talking in my accent. And they're like, oh my God, you're from Jamaica. We started having a conversation with the casting director. I digress. My point is, we're at the party and met Darren, and we just hit it off really well by talking about something that was common. And just by being around them all the time, people just assumed I was an actress. And so all the time, Vivica would say, oh, she's a nurse, and she has 2 degrees, and she would just always go on and on about me being a nurse and just, you know, being so proud of me. And one day, someone came and said, you know, oh, you know, what have you been in? You're an actress. And so Viv looks at me and she was like, you know, this is becoming a lot. Have you ever thought? And I was like, I don't know. Within 2 minutes, somebody else comes to our table and he was like, oh my God, you know, have I seen you in anything? And he's like, are you an actress? And I said, yes, I am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just like that, my career was born. Okay. So that was it.
I do have one other question.
Yes.
When you look at the industry right now, you find that lots of persons are making incredible sacrifices to be seen and to make money and to be recognized. What do you say to us to remind us of the value of preserving our own identity, of preserving our standards, and I suppose of preserving our families? Because you did mention in your presentation that we want to be concerned about how our acting career or our intention to go into acting is going to affect our families and the people we love. So what do you say to us then to help us to understand the importance of preserving who we are as individuals while understanding that we'll have to make a few sacrifices to get there. But what can we afford to compromise, and what do we say this is an absolute no-no to?
You know, that's a very good question. Let me start there. That's something I struggle with even today. I'm actually here with you, and my family is expecting to be celebrating my birthday with me, you know? So you find that there are always challenges and always sacrifices. And I say sacrifices because, and I use that term very loosely, because what's a sacrifice to you may not be a sacrifice for me. As long as you're grounded, and it goes back to what I said initially, having your plan and writing it down and knowing what your vision and what your goal is. As long as you have that clear in your mind, it's very difficult for anything to steer you off your track. And that's what then makes what may sound like a big sacrifice really not as important. Family structure is extremely important to me. My family, I come from a nuclear family, my mom and my dad, and I have one sister. But I have a lot of big extended families, and I have a lot of friends who have become sisters, and I have a lot of friends who have become brothers. So a lot of that family time is still very important to me. However, I already knew going in that my goal was, I am going to be an international actress. I am going to be in politics. That's what my trajectory is going to be. So I already knew that being all over the place was a given. So when it's time for me to be here, I told you I've been here since the end of February, Jampro announced that they wanted to put into production 15 projects for their film festival. And at this film festival, I submitted my project, and it got accepted. And immediately, I was packing, and I was ready to go. And my family was like, oh, but you're going to be gone for so long, you know? And you hear that it's a guttural plea almost to say to you, stay. And it's very difficult for me. Even I'm expressing it to you now, it's a very personal thing for me, so I can't even believe I'm actually saying this out loud. But you asked. And so I want to say, and as a woman too, you know, you hear people have these societal norms that they place upon you. So a question I get all the time is, oh, so when you're having a child and when you're going to get married, you know, these are things that are always, you know, they expect that this is what your life, you know, should kind of be. And the reality is, half of the time, I don't have time for myself, much less to sit down and think about, you know what I mean? Like, you really, realistically, you don't have a time to be a traditional wife. And so you have to choose a partner who understands that. And this is why I was saying initially the discussion is so important. When you're ready to embark upon such a journey, it's just important for you to have that conversation with whoever your family members are, so that everybody's on the same playing field. I hope that answers your question. I love your hair.
Thank you. In your opinion, how important is it for a director to actually know his or her script?
Oh my gosh, your question is how important is it?
Yeah.
They have to, that's like your Bible. That's going to be your Bible for the next couple of shooting days. So because the directors who then takes his vision, his or her vision, I can't believe I started with his, especially since I'm now a director. I can't believe I just did that. But his or her vision is what you're going to see on screen. So example, it's called IMSDB or something like that. Not IMDb where you have all the movies and the actors. There's a script version of IMDb, or the International Movie Database, online. I think it's IMSB or something like that. But what you can do is go online or just Google movie scripts and think about whatever movie you specifically. What's your name?
Anik.
Anika.
Anik.
Anik. Yeah. All right. Hi, Anik. So, what you, Anik, like, think about what film you like. Go in and you can type that for that script and you can pull it up. When you look at it, how it reads from top to bottom is not necessarily what you see on screen. So I say that to say, it's that director's vision that you're seeing on camera. It could be that the line a person may ask, what are you looking at? May say on the actual script. However, the director may think, instead of the actor speaking that word, it would probably be more powerful if he was looking and he's focusing on an object far beyond. So that the audience then looks to see what he's looking at, he or she's looking at. So without knowing the details of the script, without understanding what the purpose of the script is, that without knowing at the end of the script what you want to accomplish, without knowing that the director is then going to fail at giving you an exceptional picture. So it's very key that he or she is very knowledgeable about what's going on.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Last question, hopefully, yes? In regards to ethical principles, again, do you advise actors or directors to do anything at any cost to get the job done, or should they abide by the ethical principles that they should be governed by?
No, absolutely you should always go with the ethical route. I mean, film and entertainment is such now that if you don't, there are fines. People put you in a lot of
Compromising position.
monetary. Are you speaking of? Be a little bit more specific, because I have two answers. My first answer is at all times, as an upstanding citizen, you want to be ethical, and you want to ensure that whatever you do, you know, is of sound practice. Okay. So, example on the Blackburns of Royal Palm Estate. We already know that the Broadcasting Commission, you can't have your boobs out. Can I say boobs?
You already did.
You know, I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist, right? And we're very strict. So a lot of times, before I was even coming here, I was talking to my mom, and I said, Mommy, I'm going to speak at Northern Caribbean University, and I hope that I don't say something that will embarrass you. So I digress. My point is, you know, on camera as an actress, I already know if I'm in a scene with Adam, who is my counterpart on the show. He plays Richard Blackburn, I play Claudine Chambers, soon to be Mrs. Blackburn. So when Adam and I are in a scene, I may or may not be, I'm very shy. So when we're on camera, everybody knows that I have to be all offset. All the guys have to be on set. It's just the cameraman and the director. And then I have a towel. And then by the time it's supposed to come on screen, then Adam puts his chest close to me, and then you kind of see the cover-up. So you get the illusion that we're already in a, you know. However, I already know ethically, everybody's watching, they understand the concept of what's happening. However, I can't, as an actress, move away from Adam without warning and flash my boobs. I understand that the Broadcasting Commission, there are fines that will be had. But as well as, that's a professional, ethical dilemma. However, at the same time, personally, I know my mother will kill me if I flash my boobs. And I know my aunt is watching. And I know, like, my family is watching. And I know people I went to school with. I don't want them to see, you know, like, I'm very conservative myself. So, personally, ethically, then I want to be able to ensure that I'm always of sound practice in that dilemma.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, hi, I'm Shanette, and I've been writing since I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right, one of my goals is to become a film writer, and I'm working towards it. I've had some challenges, but I'm working towards it.
Yes.
But anyway, I want to know if there's a shortage of script writers in Jamaica, and how can I, as someone who is basically unknown, break into that script writing market in Jamaica?
Okay. One of the things is there's on, and I think she got this from social media. I forget her name. It's not Vanessa. I forget. I don't know why that name sticks into my brain. But the young lady who was introducing me said a quote that I'm always saying: either be a bull rider or, watch from the sidelines. And what that means is when any challenges that you have, you want to be able to face them head on. Face them head on, or you're going to be left watching other people do it.
Right.
And one of the ways in which you can do that very seamlessly is by not even thinking in challenges in the first place. So if you go in with the concept thinking that there may not be an avenue for scriptwriters, then your brain automatically will then start thinking of all the obstacles it will take in order to break into being a scriptwriter
I
in
think
Jamaica.
that's what's happening to me right now.
Yes. And when you really think about it and strip away all of those obstacles, it actually is very easy. There was just now the film project that I'm working on.
Yes.
Carol Beckford, who's the now film commissioner
Right.
and manager for creative industries at Jampro, she called for a script submission. So reading the local newspaper, listening to the local radio stations, watching local television, you'll be able to hear a lot of people talking about opportunities that come up all the time. This was one opportunity that was just in November, and she had so many submissions that were really good, and then she narrowed it down. But there were also a lot of them that were really bad. Right. So if you've been writing since you were 9, odds are that you're pretty good right now. So you want to put yourself, if you're not in the conversation, what's your name?
Shanette.
Shanette. Shanette, if you're not in the conversation, then you really are left outside looking and wondering, wow, I wonder what it took to get there.
Right.
So all you start doing, Shanette, is just writing. And like I said, everything starts with the script. It starts with a good script. So you are the key in all of this that is happening. So what you want to do is write it, make sure it's good, and then you talk about it. When you talk about it, people will then seek you out and say, oh, do you have anything about love, or do you have anything about action? Tragedy, whatever. Whatever is your genre that you like for film, and you write it. People then start seeking you out. There are also social media. Social media on the YouTube channel I was talking about that I have with the Skinny on Hollywood. There are 3 episodes that specifically talk about social media. One of the reasons I did that is because it's so important now, yes? Right. You have access to so many people. You can tweet a person and you get their attention right away, So there's currently a Facebook group called something about the Jamaica film industry. They post things in there all the time. I'm looking for a script. They post things all the time. I'm looking for a DP. I'm looking for actors. So you go ahead and you start networking in those fields and just start putting yourself out there and start speaking it into existence. So my name is Shanette, and I'm a writer. I've been writing since I was 9. You already have your story.
Okay.
If you go in asking, how do I get in or whatever, then automatically you've created that barrier for yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Your advice is inspiring to me.
Thank you. So I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Miss Shauna Chin.
It's my birthday all over again.
On behalf of the students here at the Department of Communication Studies, I would like to take this opportunity to present you with this token of our appreciation for guiding us along the way with the whole film industry, also guiding us through the ethics and what is required of us in the industry. Also for your bubbly persona. I thank you very much.
Thanks so much to both of our presenters so far. Have we been refreshed and enriched, ladies and gentlemen? Absolutely. A number of things very quickly. Some good news, I hope you will take it as very good news, and some not so good news. So I will start with the not so good news first. Your programs would have shown that we should have been joined by my good friend and colleague and fellow Jamaican, Neil Nunez. Let me tell you what is happening with Mr. Nunez. I'm really apologizing on his behalf. He was scheduled to come into the country a couple of weeks ago, and he should have been here for a month. His father, who lives in Jamaica, Neil is Jamaican, comes from a little district up the road, the name of which I can't remember right now. But his father is not well. So that changed his plans a little bit. So he was in Jamaica about 2 weeks ago, had to go back to the UK. So I suspect he will be to and from for a little while. While he was here, we decided that since, unfortunately, because of the change of plans, he would not be here for the symposium in person, then we would connect via the technology. Now, Mrs. Jackson Miller told you a little earlier what the schedule of the media practitioner is like generally. There is just no time. And we have been victims of that because we should have connected via Skype or another platform. But Neil Nunez, who works for the BBC, one of the foremost black broadcasters on BBC Radio, got a shift on BBC4, which is very well known in the UK, something he calls a crazy shift, which was unplanned. So he's not able to join us at the time, and you all would know that the UK is, 5, 6 hours ahead of us. So that really messed up our live connection. So unfortunately, he's hoping that we will have another such session, possibly not. I don't think he's going to be waiting for another symposium, but we have made some plans to get some connection with him in the near future so that he can share with us. For those of you who may not be aware, Neil Nunez attended Northern Caribbean University. And, yes, man, go ahead and clap. He is one of our outstanding past students. And not only did he attend NCU, but he was a part of this very department. And so he was really looking forward to being here. I'll tell you something else. When we realized that his shift at BBC4 had changed, we made another arrangement to try to speak with him. He went to bed at 2 a.m. UK time last night. It didn't happen because there were some challenges with the technology. So I really apologize on his behalf, but I know that we will hear from him in the very near future. He has a date with us. The good news is that we're on to our break, and we have refreshments to my right, but don't move just yet. We have a few things we need to share with you. One of the things I talked about at the beginning in my opening remarks was the fact that we focus on excellence in a number of areas. Now, I need to share a few things relating to our students. Is Nicoy Wilson here? I know he stepped outside. Did he come back? But we all know Nicoy. Is Vanessa in the room? I know she was here. Vanessa, where are you? Vanessa is quite the politician, and so is Nicoy. They are both vying for posts in the United Student Movement, which guests is our student movement here at NCU, and I believe they have some important business to take care of today as it relates to their campaigns, but they are DCS students and they are with us today. Secondly, Vanessa Scott, who is our current burgundy jacket holder, is not here, but she has very good reason. Vanessa has been chosen to represent Northern Caribbean University in a youth leadership training in heritage preservation and protection, which is taking place as we speak at the Knutsford Court Hotel in Kingston. Being hosted by the Ministry of Youth and Culture, it's a 3-day international workshop. So let us give her a round of applause. She's representing us where she is. And finally, again, we're talking academic excellence. I know Miss Noreen Daly will smile at this one. Vanessa, who just stood for you, and Giovanni Ashman. Where are you, Giovanni? On this side. Please stand for those who don't know you. Giovanni and Vanessa will be, you can sit, will be taking part in the Sagicor UTEC National Debating Competition. No, this is what I have here. Somebody gave me incorrect information. You can correct me, it's okay. We're media practitioners, we take correction as it comes. Am I right, Deon? Yes, we do. Should we pause and move on? Move on. Okay. Clarification is coming, I think. Come, Noreen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, on this campus, the NCU debate team, the core of it is really actually from DCS. This Friday, NCU will be hosting the Sagicor West Central Debating League. We have 5 teams going up. From DCS, we have Sasha Rowe, Giovanni Ashman, Daniel Nicholas, Patricia Grant. Who am I forgetting from DCS? That's it. And the others are from other departments. And on April 2, we head to Kingston, to UTEC, where we'll be entering the Sagicor UTEC National Debating Championships for the 3rd time.
So it's not actually clarity, it's additional information and more DCS excellence. So we applaud our students for representing our university so well. Just to let you know, let me do this first. Just to let you know that the afternoon session promises to be equally interesting. A number of media practitioners will be coming in for the breakout session. As mentioned before, Mr. Trevor Johnson of TVJ, key producer, in fact, I believe I can say producer extraordinaire, and one of the best production managers, I'm told, in Jamaica, will be coming to talk about getting the production job done right. So television students, you are invited to be a part of that session, which begins at 2 o'clock at the Fieldview Conference Room area. Our radio emphasis students are going to be graced with the presence of Rosamond Brown and Lorraine Walker-Mendez. Rosamond Brown is a stalwart, perhaps that's the best way to speak of her, in this business called radio. Not only is she an avid broadcaster, beautiful voice, but she is known for creating and recreating dying radio stations. So she has run the gamut in terms of what happens in excellence in radio. And if you have not heard of her, it's your loss. Please make sure you're there today to share with her. Lorraine Walker-Mendez is currently manager of GIS Radio, and you may be aware that a number of our students are currently at GIS Radio because of the good work that they have been doing when we send them there for internship. I can think of at least 3 persons, and there are possibly others in the public relations department. So Ms. Walker-Mendez is coming down to speak as well to all radio students. Mr. Wayne Marsh is a public relations practitioner of no ordinary caliber. He owns a company called Branditize, and you will find information on them at branditize.com. They have received an award, perhaps more than one, but I'm certainly aware of an award from the government of Jamaica for their innovation in public relations / advertising. And so Mr. Wayne Marsh is coming down to talk about innovation using digital media in particular and media in general in public relations, the power in the message. So our advertising and public relations students will also have a very interesting presenter. Now, my journalism students are probably wondering, so what's going on with us? This is your time. Mrs. Jackson Miller came and she shared with you, and you had an opportunity to speak with her. So because we have the primary focus of our morning session, not the only, but the primary focus being journalism, we wanted to ensure that the other students had their specific areas. So I'm going to invite you journalism students to be a part of the radio and television sessions. Even though we teach journalism very specifically here, our radio classes and our television classes crosses the gamut. There is news writing in all those areas. So you are not at a loss in any way. So I'm going to invite you to be a part of that session as well. Before I take Ms. Simmons' hand, the burgundy jacket people, the new burgundy jacket holders are going to be donned this evening in our closing ceremony. You cannot afford to miss it. So once our breakout sessions end, at about 4 o'clock, we come back in here and we will wrap up with the donning of our burgundy jackets, male and female. Ms. Simmons, I saw your... Oh, they're all, I beg your pardon, the Fieldview conference room and the Fieldview classrooms beside them. All right, so we are going to go for lunch in a little while, but we still have some additional business to take care of. And we resume at 2 at the Fieldview conference room and in the classrooms. And we will have those sessions there. Now, I believe I saw my dean, Dr. Vincent Peterkin. He just walked in. And Dr. Peterkin, before we break for refreshments, I'm going to invite you to share a word, because I know that you would have wanted to have been here a little earlier. So Dr. Peterkin, please come to us.
Good afternoon, everyone. It was my intention to have been here to start at the opening, but I had previous engagements that just released me. As a matter of fact, I was released at exactly 12 o'clock. And I figure if I get nothing else, I should get some of the lunch. But I'm really here to share with you in this wonderful symposium, and I'm trusting that all the presentations that are given will be well received. Into your space, all of us need to be very respectful of the space that we have. Some people speak of their own private space. One of the findings of research today is that worldwide, the cluttering of your space is a danger to productivity. And with that in mind, we need to be good managers, astute managers of our space. And whatever space that is interpreted to be, we need to occupy that space wisely, with the understanding that others can also come within our space and receive that kind of one-on-one impact that you can give. I want to congratulate you on this symposium, and I trust that as we continue to enjoy, and I will strive to be here until lunch is served. And if I can find some other time in the afternoon, I will try to be here back with you. Ms. Tomlinson, heartiest congratulations. To all our guests, it is my pleasure.
I just have one announcement to make before we break for refreshments. We have a marvelous group of students at the Kingston campus. And I want to specially applaud them this morning because they suffer from the distance, physical distance. Yes, they are here. And I'm going to invite them. I must tell you, before I invite them to stand, they had a challenge this morning. It was not a challenge of their doing. They knew of the symposium. They requested to join us. We said yes, and we arranged for transport. Something happened there, and we realized that they had a challenge with transport, and we were not able to fix it when we heard shortly before we started. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I saw persons from the Kingston campus coming in. It speaks to their resolve, and we have the greatest respect for them. I'm not able to see much because the lights are in my face, but I'm going to please ask you, students from the Kingston campus, to stand. We know that you made great effort to be here. Please. Thank you so much, and we know the challenges you've been having, and we really thank you. Please have a seat. Ladies, gentlemen, it's refreshment time. Please enjoy yourselves. We come back at 2 o'clock for our breakout sessions.